Today, I'm here with Frank O'Brien, and Frank has been absolutely generous enough to bring his Melodia Theremin, an old Moog Theremin that's in, for all intents and purposes, beautiful working order. It's apparently, what, about 50 years old?
Oh, we'll say it's about 47, 48 years old, probably built in around 1962.
Amazing, just amazing. You're going to see some close-ups of this, but first you got to hear what it sounds like. I honestly think that the tone on this instrument is so gorgeous. It's
very musical.
It's a testament to Moog's craftsmanship and technical ability. That's something that is this old.
My dad built this in the early 60s when he was a fighter pilot. We were moving around a lot, needed to have an instrument that really was contemporary at the time and also small and portable because, again, when you're moving a lot, you don't have a chance to pack up large boxes. At the time also, most of the electronics you bought at the time were kit form. The idea of going and buying pre-made equipment, stereos, televisions, that kind of thing, just were so incredibly expensive, and the idea of a Best Buy just simply didn't exist in the early 60s. So this was a way to affordably buy not only electronics but also musical instruments as well. And it was a very common thing to be building your own equipment as well. And after maybe only 2 or 3 nights after getting the package, boom, we were up and running. We were up and playing.
And you say you recall your dad playing this a lot.
My dad played this I'll say at least a couple times a week, played along with his Jackie Gleasons and all the rest. I don't know if Jackie Gleason would have approved, but I'm certain that...
I remember those records, though, those Jackie Gleason LPs. They were orchestral instrumentals.
Fabulous, and he used to always play along with them.
That's right. Let's take a closer look at the Melodia. Let's get really up close and personal. I'm going to turn this thing around now.
This is actually a battery-powered Theremin. We have no AC circuit holding it up. Back in the days, you were able to buy a large 6-volt battery, quite a bit smaller than the Lantern battery that you're familiar with. Since those were getting difficult to find in the early 60s even, my father added a 4 D-cell battery pack underneath, and that's the only non-original piece on the instrument.
Do you know when it got put in?
Oh, that was put in as part of the original build.
It was. Now, you'll notice that there is a pitch antenna. There it is. Just like pitch antennas today. It comes all the way up, connects to the machine, although it doesn't screw in, it just sort of sits in there. And around on this side is probably the most interesting feature in comparison to any theremins that exist now, because all that's really here is a metal plate on the side. It's just literally screwed right on. And it's this that controls that volume field. And when you set the volume knob, it controls the sharpness of the attack or the softness of the attack on the volume. And this magnetic field seems to extend out pretty darn far, actually. I've noticed that you can get these beautiful crescendos and go to wonderfully soft volume levels just by getting your hand very, very close to that plate. It's a very, very different feel, having now experienced it, from playing over the volume loop. Your hand has to move much more laterally to control that volume. And it's obviously, as you can see, in amazing condition. There doesn't seem to be a scratch on it. You could say it almost looks like it was built yesterday. It's been maintained just magnificently. Why don't we take a look inside and see what's going on in there? Just amazing looking. Look at that. It just looks brand new.
That was taken care of with a lot of tender, loving care.
It sure was.
Again, this was the kind of kits that people built many years ago, before the days of the big box mass market electronics stores. A kit like this would probably come in a small box, instructions of only a few pages, and would probably take 2 to 3 evenings at most to build. And a large part of the final assembly, if I remember correctly, was the actual setting and tuning of the coils. There was a procedure that had to be done with that, since some of these things... One of the things that was probably the proudest parts of any electronics in the early 60s was the number of transistors in the system. Back in the day, you did have just beautifully written on the front page, or on the front panel, how many transistors. I had a 6 transistor radio, and for those people keeping count, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 transistors in this. And again, just standard cans transistors that we're very familiar with today, found in almost any old electronics store. But the idea of having a transistor in the early 60s was not a trivial thing. A lot of equipment still was being shipped to it's just such a shame that, again, the complexity of electronics today and the level of precision you need to build them, to put together a circuit board for a computer, even something like, say, your average desktop, requires a level of soldering skill and precision that you just simply don't have in a 9-year-old kid's skill level to solder together the chips and all the rest. The precisions are just so tight. Nowadays, to, quote, build a computer, you just take prefabricated parts and almost, for lack of a better phrase, snap them together. You get a motherboard, you plug in the parts, you snap in your video cards, etc., and connect a few connectors. But that's a very different experience from getting, as you say, a handful of resistors, a handful of transistors, and you connect knee bone, thigh bone, hip bone with a soldering iron, and cross your fingers and hope there isn't a little cloud of smoke when you turn it on for the first time. That was our experience. If you didn't blow up the house or short out all the fuses, you did a good job.